Okay, in this problem, I want you to try it in your notebook. You have a function here, negative quantity x plus 1 squared plus 4. I want you to figure out the vertex, the axis of symmetry, domain, range, x and y intercepts, and then could you sketch that in your notes. So go ahead and pause the video and try this problem. Okay, hopefully you actually paused the video and tried it, but I'm going to go through and work this one out as well. So if you had trouble or you want to check your answer, you could do that. The vertex, remember, is the HK. So in this case, this means left 1 up 4. So we're going to go negative 1, 4. So on my graph, that would be the first thing that I'd want to plot is my vertex. So negative 1, 4. Axis of symmetry, I abbreviate that AOS. Remember, the axis of symmetry is going to come right down through the center of that vertex of your parabola. Cut your parabola in half. That is crossing the x-axis at negative 1, so your axis of symmetry is x equals negative 1. I'm going to come back to domain and range once I get the graph made. So let's go ahead and calculate the x-intercepts. So when we calculate x-intercepts, the value of y is 0. So I'm going to say negative x plus 1 squared plus 4 equals 0. And I'm going to solve this for x by using the square root method. So I'm going to have to subtract 4. There's a negative on both sides. So if I divide both sides by negative 1, that would make that 4 now positive. The opposite of squaring is square rooting, or the inverse there. So we're going to square root both sides. Remember, squares and square roots undo each other. Over here, the square root of 4, we would get plus or minus 2. Don't forget the plus or minus sign on that. 2 squared and negative 2 squared, they both make 4. So get two possibilities. If I continue to solve, I'm going to subtract that 1 over. And there's my solution for x. Now, if I want to actually make the intercepts, I'm going to have to find those values. So I know one of them would be negative 1 plus 2, which makes 1. So the intercept would be 1, 0. I also know that if I do negative 1 minus 2, I would get the second one, which is at negative 3. So that would be negative 3, 0. So make sure you're writing those intercepts as coordinates. So I'm at positive 1 and 1, 2, 3, and negative 3. Those are my x-intercepts. If I want to do my y-intercepts, where it crosses the y-axis here, that is where the x value is now 0. So I'm going to substitute in 0 plus 1. And you can grab your calculator, you can mental math this, but it looks like we're going to get an answer of 3. So the x was 0, the y came out 3. So again, write that as a coordinate point, and we're going to sketch our parabola through these 3 or 4 points, I guess we have here. So something along those lines makes sense. We knew there was a reflection up here with that negative sign, so the parabola is going upside down. You could also put this on Desmos and make sure yours was correct. Now, once I kind of got it graphed, that's when I go back and do domain and range. So the domain of any parabola is negative infinity to infinity, because you can put any x value into that quadratic equation and square it. The range this time, though, if you notice, the range tops out here at 4, and then the graph is heading down. So you're thinking maybe y is less than or equal to 4. If we write that in interval notation, always go smallest to biggest, so it would be, whoops, I need a parenthesis there, negative infinity to positive 4. So either one of those answers is fine, so maybe whichever way your teacher would like you to write that. So hopefully you did this one correctly. If not, maybe it made a little more sense after listening to the explanation. I will leave this as the last slide if you want to look at this one nice and neat and typed up here, and you can see the Desmos graph. But that's it for this one.